Drop a hot take and I will potentially use it for an upcoming video. You don't have to believe it. I'll go first. There was absolutely no better choice than Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku for the Legends Festival Part 3. I'm gonna be reviewing you guys' hot takes. I do these type of videos often, so if you want to get involved next time, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Zakashi with 3 eyes at the end. It's always a bit of fun to see what you guys have to say. But regarding my hot take, I really believe that to be the case as well. And the reason I believe that is because they've built up GT in a way where it made the most sense. And if you consider any other option that was actually reasonable, I think the closest thing was probably Ultra MUI Goku. But because they dropped the Legends Limited MUI Goku, at least the transforming one, in the 7th anniversary, I felt it wouldn't have made sense to release 2 of their biggest assets in a Legends Limited form and an Ultra form in the same year. Especially in hindsight, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, unless you for some reason just don't consider him hype, the Dragon Ball franchise clearly does, because he's the only unit in the Dragon Ball Legends year of 2025 to get top grossing. So no matter what you think, he is that guy, and he clears supposedly the whole cast of 2025 too. Let's get into this video. So we've got the first take of the video here from Skills Master. People make fun of the design philosophy a lot, but don't exactly realize that there are many characters in time slots this year that are still runnable now versus last year when it wasn't possible. Like the 7th anniversary characters are very usable today still, UI, Kaioken, Nameku too. I think this is agreeable as much as I don't want to agree. I think in the first half of the year, that design philosophy was fake, and especially with some units, they've just completely ignored it because they want to make them sell in a sense. So for example, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan doesn't need all that. I also feel like some characters such as Full Power Frieza didn't need all that. You know, I complained about a lot, SSBE Vegeta versus UI Goku. UI Goku is a better defensive unit than SSBE Vegeta, the guy who blew himself up and tanked his own explosion. But UI Goku, the guy that's fragile as hell because he's on his last leg, right? He's meant to be dodging everything, meaning that he doesn't have the defenses. He's not meant to, right? If you scratch him, he's done. But he's got better defenses than the guy who tanked his own explosion. It don't make sense, you know, with some degree. I also don't feel like UI Goku needs endurance. That makes no sense. But you know, some things they kind of just went overboard, and in other places they didn't. But I think generally speaking, there are a lot more units that are runnable now, which means that as much as it didn't feel it, the meta with their new philosophy is better than last year. Hate to say it, but they did a better job than last year, because units, once they got cliffed, they didn't make a return. But this year they hit, but some things they missed. For example, they gave Fusions of Master a plat very quickly, and the fact that they had to do that means they didn't do something successful, at least for that unit. But overall, I am going to agree. We got one from AKJ. Hurts to say, but even the tag 4s are better than Baby right now for this meta. UV4 is just too oppressive for him. Well, this is a hot take for sure. I am going to disagree though, but I could see the angle you're potentially coming from. I feel like yellow units are being very much swept under the rug with the likes of like Janemba. People talk about Janemba and Baby like they're literally nothing, but they're very good choices. But to push tag 4s above them, it is a good hot take, I'm not going to lie, but I just cannot agree. I would say it's somewhat agreeable if you have a 14-star tag 4s, which you should. The unit released in like 2022. But on top of that, because they are green, they also have the reverse element, even though you're not going to be fighting any purples, let's be honest. This unit here, tag 4s, can be Zenkai buffed with the likes of Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which means that you can run a green something composition, which is good for them as well as Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It gives you reason to put a bunch of Zenkai buffs to green, and that means they're able to perform in a coherent team and not just let's support tag 4s to make them look good. But Baby has the same thing with Super Janemba, which would be a good powerful opponent / regeneration team, and you could put a leader slot option, which could be anybody. I think the best option is obviously going to be Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but if your equips are right, in my experience at least, Super Baby 2 has definitely outperformed the tag 4s, with both of them having Zenkai buffs with the yellow build up and the green build up. I think it's just a liability to run the tag 4s, especially in comparison to Super Baby 2 and how he works on his team versus how the tag 4s would work on their team. But this is a good hot take in my opinion. It's as close to burning as you can get, but like 1 centimeter just off, so you just burn it just too much. We got a take here from Applesauce 2233 4. He is still easily top 1, explanation in thread below. Let's look at the thread. 2. He still gaps the game damage wise. That is true. Next up, it's in rank weird order. So 1, his unrestricted revival is way better than Forku's restricted endurance. That is true. 4, he can spam blues and get rid of the 4 duos buff cancels. You still have to work around it, so that's not really a good point because you can do that with anybody. His lock-in when you finish comboing him allows for easy snipes. This one is true. I've done a lot of that with blast armor cancels. Twitter's put this in a weird order, but whatever. His versatility, he can be placed on any team and still be insane. That's true. He can actually tank and not get immediately melted. That's like a loaded question where you're phrasing it as if Forku can't tank. I don't like that question. I don't like that point, sorry. But I'm not going to agree or disagree on this take. I'm going to keep it at neutral. The reason I'm going to keep it at neutral is because I feel like the arguments for Gohan are as good as the arguments for Goku. I feel like if you're running Gohan, you're going to juice him up, and him alone is rivaling crazy teams. He's just that. He's just that. Like, his damage potential is higher than what Forku could ever hope to reach. But Forku, the way he builds with his team, it's just a secure way to play the game. Probably a safer way to play the game. But Gohan can also be on that team because of his versatility. So I don't really take away from Gohan. So if you think Gohan's top 1, I think that's fine. If you think Forku's top 1, I think that's fine too. Keeping this one at neutral for me. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. Hey. Got one from ZR0M. These guys are viable for top 3 now that Ultra Goku has dropped. Hits a purple unit, aka a direct counter to Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and their blue card hits like a truck. I hate units like this. Yeah, I disagree, by the way. This is a very obvious disagreeable. I hate when people prop a unit because of one simple thing. In this case, it's 2, and it's half of 2, you know, because hit is only one half of the unit. You're not always going to be in the battlefield to hit a blue card with hit when Forku's on the field, because somebody could just switch out, and the blue card is the only thing that's really threatening when you're running God Goku and hit. People prop them too much. They're very situational, and the team synergy you could have with them with any of the top tiers is just worse than any of the other top tiers with each other. So having this guy anywhere near top 3 is outrageous. Having them anywhere near top 5, in my opinion, is outrageous. This one is super hot. Super hot. I should also point out that this was made on the 27th of December. We're at now like the 5th of January, so it was quite a long time ago, and the meta's obviously developed as the days have gone past since Forku's release. But overall, man, this is still a crazy take, even then, in my opinion. Just putting it up because of those 2 things, it's not really good enough, is it? I don't think so. Let me know what you guys think. I already disagreed. Got a take here from Prince Vamp Money. UV4 is overrated because his team, Gogeta, is better than him, and Goku only is top 1 with GT. Gohan is the real top 1. There's a lot to dissect here. Alright, cool. If I had to take it as a whole, I'm mostly going to disagree. Especially the UV4 is overrated. Obviously, his team is being the main factor for why he's being used at all, but he's also on the featured boost, if I'm not mistaken, and that's helping him a lot. I've melted teams with UV4 more than Forku in some cases, and I feel like because Ultra Forku, right, because he's restricted to GT, people are using that like as an excuse to kind of downplay Forku, alongside saying that the other GT members are being brought up and carried just because of that factor, but that's not the truth at all. UV4 carries his own weight, and some of the other GT units can also do a lot of damage. I've seen Super 17 do crazy damage. That's crazy to say, but it's the truth. So I don't feel like saying he's overrated because of his team is really like a good slander or like a downplay. Like, I think it is a downplay, sorry. It's not a good way to really talk about him. So I just disagree with that statement. Gogeta is better than him. Individually, I'm down to take Gogeta, but he's not a safer option. The only reason I take Gogeta is because he's an anti-meta unit with his endurance nullification. He's very useful because of that. But outside of that, I don't know. Not meta-wise, I don't feel like he is that unit that you choose over UV4. You just can't because of how valuable Forku is. But individually, I don't think it's that close. I think it's that close. Like, you can go either way between them, and Goku is only top 1 with GT, so meta-wise, Gohan is the real top 1. Individually, taking Gohan, but meta-wise, it can go either way for sure. Got one here from Mikage Rayo. When this guy gets his plat, he's going to become top 1 and terrorize PvP. He has so much utility, tons of vanish restore, goated blue card, 2 times card draw speed at 120 counts, and it just goes on. He really doesn't need much to come back to the top and reclaim his throne. I want to agree, right? And I don't think it's easy. I think it's easy actually to say that he's going to be top 1. He's Ultra Gogeta Blue. blue. I think the devs will do it that well. I just feel like because he's purple, and if he's that oppressive, it gives you reason to use a unit like, I don't know, Ultra UI and also Ultra Margin Vegeta. It really depends on what they add to this guy's plat to make him very useful, because I feel like his gauge for how much he tanks in 2026 now isn't good enough. If his plat makes his gauge fill up more and his defenses are absurd, then sure, but he doesn't have any survivability. He's prone to getting rushed, one tapped. You know, it also depends on his team when they do give him his plat. There's a lot to consider to say he's definitely going to be top 1. So I can't guarantee that, because the meta has developed. You know, when he was top 1 in his prime, he was fighting farmers 2022, and he had a longevity spree because of that, because all those units that released after pretty much were also farmers. Well, with the units we get nowadays, I can't guarantee that top 1 spot, man. I just can't. But I do think he'll be up there. It just depends on what they do, but I can't guarantee it. So I'm going to disagree, even though I do want to agree. I just don't think it's that easy. I just don't think it's that easy. Got one here from Leo. Gohan and Super Saiyan 4, I'm assuming he means Vegeta, are not good together when ran on the same team. Well, disagreeable. It's easily one of the best teams in the game. Even the devs are vouching for it, and they barely know ball when it comes to top meta teams. Just kidding, just kidding. But in this case, if you're running Vegeta, you're running Forku. You're not going to run Vegeta without Forku. So that means they're a duo alone, and then you just put Gohan in the team with the leader slot. Naturally, the team's going to work. It's also the same thing as Son Family. You put UV4 on the leader slot, but you're going to run Goku. So then by default, you have one space left. Gohan enters the team because he's the next best unit, and then you build the rest of the team Son Family. Don't know why you do it that way, because you'd miss out on Forku's ultra ability, getting to the max, which it could be, I believe it's 30% you can max out at. So you could get to 25% at the max, which is a lot more than if you was to build Son Family as the core versus GT as the core. But this obviously works, so disagreeable, should go without saying. We've got a take here from MUI Glazer. Nameku is the best aging yellow unit of 2025. This is obviously agreeable, but it's not really a hot take. Are you scared to make a hot take? Because you have to consider, who's his competition when it comes to aging? Yellow unit specifically? We got Kale and Caulifla. Is that it? That's really it? So like, you're not really putting up any competition when you're talking about yellow units. So are you scared to make a hot take? You could have just said best aging unit of 2025. Then we'd have a bigger conversation. Are you scared of that conversation? Are you not gonna prop the unit that much? Obviously agreeable take here, but if we had to extend it just for sake, yeah, best aging unit of 2025, I think he can still get the #1 spot. But the one thing I don't like about the aging conversation in 1 year, you only really enter that conversation if you released prior to the anniversary, because the first half of the units would have a longer run and a longer measure. But you can't measure like Forku, for example, who only released last month in December. It's not really fair, you know. So the later units don't really get the competition or the space to be in the argument for best aging. But yeah, I'd put Nameku up there regardless. Don't be scared to make a hot take, bro. We got one here from Marco the Mark. Janemba is the most underrated fest unit in the game, and if Baby was better of a Zenkai and Zenkai yellow region, it could have been a decent anti-meta team. I do agree that Janemba is the most underrated fest unit in the game right now, but we have to consider who the contenders are. You know, we got Gogeta, who's definitely being used right now. We've got Gohan, who is 100% being used right now. We've got Goku and Hit, half purple, so people want to use them to counter Forku, and of course Forku. It's not really difficult to be underrated when your competition are a bunch of goated units, you know. You're the worst unit by default, in a sense, but you're also going to be, you could say, underrated as a result. But I don't actually think they're the worst unit in the festival currently. I think they're a better choice with anti-meta team with mono yellow and leader slot of Gohan, yellow, blue. I think it works very effectively in PvP. I've used it a lot. I would take them over Goku and Hit. That might be a hot take. So I'm going to agree. This is agreeable, but it's only because like it's pretty obvious. But I might go as far as to say Goku and Hit are more underrated than them. But I don't think it's like a disagreeable take you're making here. I think most people would agree. So yeah, gonna leave it like that. Got one here from Vic 6000. Super Saiyan 4 Goku would not age good. It will only take a decent purple and Goku will be phased out of top 3 and Gohan will be undisputed top 1. I think this is a rare moment where the animations of the characters are mid, but the kit was actually put some thought behind. I want to say agreeable, but I don't really think it's agreeable because of how GT is formed. They literally have Super Baby 2 who has a lock-in ult, so if they drop one purple, and not just a decent purple, if they drop one purple, right, 4Q will still float around. Maybe he won't be top 1, but he will still be in the top 5, I believe anyways. But I'm gonna agree because it depends on what your measure of decent is. If the purple unit has buff cancellation, endurance, and a hard hit in blue, like, and they're just purple with some type neutral, I might agree with you there, because once Goku's out the featured boost, he might not be tanking as well. His combo breaking is going to be carrying him, and we will have to see whether he's really that guy or not. But it just depends on what your measure of decent is. But really, I want to disagree. Really, I want to disagree. That's going to make the end of the video. This festival was definitely very interesting, and everybody has their own opinions on certain things here and there, but the hot takes are always fun to see. I think overall though, this was actually quite a good festival. I think looking back at it in hindsight, the unit releases are going to be like, wow, we really took this for granted. If you're living in the moment right now, you know ball. But for those guys that are not, you're really letting this great festival go under the rug, because the unit picks at least banging. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.